if you're a content creator and you're tired of hearing all the time that in order to scale your coaching business, you have to work all the hours under the sun, you have to get up at 5 a.m., immediately pop 3 Zins, have 5 coffees, lock yourself in a room and not come out until the sun goes down. If you're tired of hearing that that's the only way to actually, in this expression, you have to chew glass in order to scale your business, then give me about 10, 15 minutes today and I'm going to share with you how I'm helping my clients and how I'm able to scale my coaching business to 5 figures a month with just 3 hours of work a day. And I know that's a big promise, but today I really want to share with you how it works, like how I'm able to do that. Because when I first started coaching and when I first started basically posting content, I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to make a difference. I knew I wanted to share my philosophy and my beliefs with the world. And if I could actually take people on and actually help them live better lives, get freedom, and just really have more autonomy, then what I would have to do is I would have to do that through coaching. I would have to do that through consulting. And that just made sense to me. That was like, to be a highly paid teacher was always my goal. And unfortunately, I didn't ever really want to do much studying at university, and I definitely didn't want to teach at schools. So adult education it was, right? That's what I think coaching really is. It's much deeper. But anyway, I don't want to go on too much about the coaching game itself. I want to go on more about how to scale this business of yours with just 3 hours a day, right? So when I first started, I used to work a lot. I used to believe that the more I worked, the more money I'd make. And I think at first, when you haven't quite got your credentials yet, when you're trying to build your personal brand and all of that jazz, then you've got to go hard. But really, I think if you're listening to this right now, you're probably the kind of person you probably built up a bit of a personal brand. You've probably been working with clients for at least 6 months, maybe even a year. And the problem you've got isn't that you haven't made any money. The problem you've got is that you don't know how to scale it without sacrificing your whole life. And here's actually the reality, right? You don't need to work harder. You need to work smarter. And that's a real cliche. That's a real cliche saying, right? You don't need to work harder, you need to work smarter. But what is working smarter, really? And so I want to give a really, one of my favorite examples, right? So in the bodybuilding, classic bodybuilding days, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and those greats, Lou Ferrigno, Franco Columbu, these guys, right? There was a belief that you had to, bed doesn't look like good then. There was this belief, right, that you had to work harder and do more sets, you had to do more hours in the gym in order to grow, right? And along came this guy called Mike Mentzer. Mike Mentzer is now considered one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. But the thing is with Mike Mentzer is when he came along, he was very controversial because he said, we don't need to be doing all these reps and sets. We can get our workouts done in half an hour. We do one set to failure on these exercises. We do less exercises and we only train every sort of every 4 days, right? Which was completely different because all these other bodybuilders and the kind of narrative was, we need to be in the gym every single day, 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. Mike was like, we need to spend half an hour in the gym every 4 days. Everyone thought he was crazy. Everyone thought he was absolutely crazy. Everyone thought he was nuts. And maybe he was a little bit. And the reason why Mike's philosophy didn't initially take off is because he never won a Mr. Olympia. I think he famously came second and lost to Arnold in, I think it was Arnold's like sixth title, maybe a seventh. And there was all this controversy that Mike should have won, and that actually Arnold just won because he was the favourite and because he'd been champion for years. He was the golden child, and Mike became very bitter. But so his philosophy wasn't as popular as the common training philosophy of like more is better, right? But what actually happened is, I'm not sure how many years later, maybe 15 years later, it was about 10 years later, there was a bodybuilder who came along named Dorian Yates. He was actually an English guy from Birmingham. And he adopted Mike's philosophy of one set to failure. It's called high intensity training, HIIT training. And to him, he was like, yeah, that makes sense, I'll try it. So he went and he implemented Mike's philosophy and teachings and actually was coached by him a little bit. And Dorian went on to win 6 Mr. Olympia titles. He won it 6 times, right? So when you put things in perspective, it's like, okay, Mike's philosophy worked and it created champions. And because it didn't turn himself into a champion, whether that was genetics, bad timing, whatever, like a bit of bad luck, it clearly worked to develop champions, right? It clearly, his ideas worked. And it was based off the simple principle of, you've really got to attack the muscle. You've really got to hit it hard, one set to failure, and then give it loads of recovery, right? I have the same philosophy with business, right? I don't believe you need to spend more hours working. I don't believe that more is better. I believe that we need to be doing less, but better. Less is more, if you know what to work on. So the problem that people have, and let's just round off that bodybuilding example, that the problem is that if people were trying HIIT training for themselves and they didn't have a clear plan of what to do, they might not get the benefits because they don't really know what they're doing, right? They don't have the system. They understand that they understand the philosophy, but they don't have the system that enables it to work. So my philosophy is the 3-hour philosophy. We can effectively get all of our money-making tasks, we can grow our business, scale our business with just 3 hours a day without sacrificing all of our hobbies, without sacrificing time with family, without sacrificing basically our whole life, right? And it's basically like high-intensity training. It's the same kind of philosophy. The problem with high-intensity training is that a lot of people weren't training the right way. So if they tried high-intensity training, how do they know that they're going to stimulate the muscle to grow, right? Well, Mike Mentzer was saying, it's all about going all the way to failure and then having plenty of recovery. Most people don't go all the way to failure. They always leave reps in reserve, repetitions, that they always have a little bit of gas left in the tank, and they don't recover enough. So if we apply this same philosophy to the 3-hour philosophy and the system that I want to share with you today, the 3 steps of how my philosophy works, the system that complements the philosophy, then you need to know what you need to be working on, how long you need to be working on it for, and what kind of parameters, what kind of principles we want to, and what kind of things we need to focus on when we do work for 3 hours a day. Okay, so this is effectively my system for scaling my clients, and this is the same system that helped Connor. We helped Connor he went from 0 to 13K a month in 4 months. And with Connor, we actually did it without sales calls. which is kind of cool. I now heard recently he's making as much as 45k a month. If you watch my videos regularly, you know I like talking about Connor. It was one of my best previous clients, and yeah, he's smashing it. So yeah, the 3-hour system, right, is very, very simple. So if the 3-hour philosophy is you don't have to work all day, you can actually work less and earn more. In fact, it's not so much that you don't have to work all day, it's that it's not optimal to work all day. You should be spending time, I'm going to add a quick anecdote here. You should be spending time on your hobbies, training, in the gym, with family, going to the sauna, like looking after your health, right? Like that's why I created this philosophy. And that's why I created this system, because I actually like living my life. Like I don't want to be doing work all the time. Sometimes I work extra hours because I enjoy it. But I don't want that. That's not optimal for me. That's not where I'm my most creative. That's not where I'm my happiest. And life is too short. Nobody ever got onto their deathbed and then said, I regret not working enough. That is not any, and nobody's ever said that, right? Life is for living. So, yeah, and I think the smartest thing you can do as a human being is to learn how to create a life, how to create an income, and how to create freedom and autonomy without having to sell your soul, without having to work all day. I think that's a true sign of intelligence, not, oh, I just want to work all day because I feel like I should. No. What if we can apply like high intensity training principles to our work so that we don't have to spend our life in the gym or quote unquote, or in the office or in our desk? That makes sense. So I'll give a quick anecdote and then I want to share with you the system today, because if you watch my videos, you know that I do like to ramble at times, which is something I'm actively trying to work on. Some of you, that's great news. Some of you probably think, I quite like your rambles, but hey. So there's a good friend of mine. He's a big entrepreneur here in Bali. Recently, he scaled his business with his business partner to, I think it's $564,000 a month. And if he's watching this, then hello, you know who you are. And I heard him, he was talking about he filmed a piece of content. He just went to a mastermind in Dubai. And he said, I was just in a room with, like, basically a room full of billionaires. And something that I noticed is pretty much all of them, or no, he said one guy, that was it. He made 2 pieces of content. This was the other piece. This is the first piece. He said, I got speaking to this guy, and he said the biggest unlock in his business and in his income was when he actually started spending time focusing on his hobbies. Like he had a hobby, right? And that confirms something that I figured out last year when I basically took a year off, where I was like, the only way you're going to feel good about yourself is if you have something outside of business that you love. Because business is up and down, but if you're constantly good, if you're good at something else, you're mastering something else outside of business, because you'll never be the best at business, right? But if you have something else that you've mastered or that you're mastering and that you're good at, your self-esteem stays up here. Like your confidence cannot be, you have more confidence, you have more conviction, you have more self-belief, which you need when you're building a business, right? Because it's very hard work. Like if your self-worth was, and it's up and down, if your self-worth was just tied to your income, you're in for a terrible life, right? You're going to suffer big time as an entrepreneur. So yeah, he said having a hobby. So if anything, it's even more important than we get our day boxed off and finished at a reasonable time, or at least we're not working all day, so that we can actually focus on our hobbies, right? So we can actually live our life and actually get good at things outside of business. I don't believe that we should be living to work. You know? We should be working to live. Anyway, so the system itself, right, is very straightforward. So if the 3-hour philosophy is we don't have to work all day to scale our business, right? We don't have to sacrifice our life. We don't have to sacrifice the things that matter to us. The system is the how, right? So how do we actually do that? So it's very straightforward. We split the day up into 3-hour blocks. First hour is what gives us, what's important but not urgent. What's going to give us money in the future? How do we build leverage, right? And this is stuff like building systems, creating content, building, crafting new offers, building a product, building an audience, right? This is all about building leverage for the future. Okay, that's the first block. Second block is, I call that money forever. How to make money forever. The second block is how to make money later. So this is stuff like creating content, generating leads, filming, speaking, writing, these kinds of, basically creating. Creating is what's going to generate money later, because this piece of content right now that I'm creating right now is effectively, I'm putting it out because I want to generate eyeballs, I want to generate high quality leads, I want to attract the right people to me, right? So you're probably not going to listen to this today and say, if you're watching this for the first time, you're not going to go, oh yeah, I'm ready to enroll in this guy's programs, and I'm ready for Dan to help me scale my business with just 3 hours a day. I'm ready to join his groups, right? His programs. You're probably not if it's your first time, but if it's your 10th time, your 20th time, you might say, I'm going to reach out to Dan right now and ask him what his program's about, what his offer is, how I can work with him, right? So I call it money later because I'm building I'm building up that, whatever you want to call it, that trust, okay? And then the third block is what I call money now. Money now is very straightforward. Sales, prospecting, DMs, sales calls, that kind of stuff, right? And the important thing about these blocks is, depending on your day, right, you might have different things that you insert into those, but it's very straightforward. Money forever, building systems, delivering, building new offers, building new lead magnets, that kind of stuff. Money later, creating, making content, filming, speaking, writing. And then we have money now, which is sales, which is closing deals, which is having sales calls. That's when you're your salesman, right? And if you focus wholeheartedly on those blocks, and you either work for, say, 60 minutes flat out or 2 25-minute blocks, you can do 2 Pomodoros, you will find that your business will, if you just look after those things, the business will grow. Like the business will be okay and it will grow. And it's that simple, right? And if you're wondering, like, okay, that sounds too simple. Well, Tim, for example, my client Tim was struggling to scale his business basically without working more, right? He was like, I want to protect my time. I want to protect my training. He's a running coach. He was like, I want to protect my training, right? So he was struggling to scale his business, and effectively it's because he had no reliable system to reliably and predictably bring him business, bring him leads, bring him clients month after month. He didn't have that. He literally told me this on the call we had, and our first call. And so then he joined me as a client. I gave him the 3-hour system, and we basically did what I call building a freedom machine. We built his freedom machine, and within a few months, I've been working with him for weeks. Within a few weeks, he messaged me like, I've become the 3-hour creator now. He actually put this message on our community wall. I've become the 3-hour creator now. I've just closed my laptop by 11 a.m. and now I'm ready to go out for the day. It's actually, the sun is shining here in the Netherlands for once, right? So he's getting his workday done by 11 a.m. And you're probably wondering, okay, cool, he's got his workday done by 11 a.m. But what are his results, Dan? I would say that's the most important result, because it's a mindset shift. It's a philosophy that changes your mind, the way you think, because we have to change the way we think first. The results, we were on a call last week and he said, last month I just had my best month ever. And the business is scaling really nicely and I'm really, really happy. And he said the best thing about working with you, Dan, is that I don't feel like I've had to copy and paste all this stuff. I feel like I already had all the ingredients there. I feel like I had everything there already. You just helped me see it clearly and then helped me smooth off the edges so that we could streamline it. And now he's having his best months ever, right? Working just 3 hours a day. So it's not just possible. Like, for me, it is the only way to live if you are a creator who has hobbies, who has interests outside of work, and who doesn't want to just chew glass all the time, 24/7, because that's just one way to do it. Like, I'm a simple man, right? I don't need to be the world's richest creator. I don't need to have the world's biggest audience. Give me, literally, if you give me 10 plus K a month, right? Coffees and croissants on a Saturday, 3 gym workouts a week, a few saunas here and there, sunshine, family close by. If you give me these things, and time to surf and do my hobbies, free time, most importantly, good health, if you give me these things, I'm very, very happy. I don't need to continue optimizing. I just want, at the end of the day, we want peace. I want peace. And what's going to give me the most peace? Making sure that my business is growing without having to work all day and without having to worry about it. Because that's the biggest shift you need to make. Is once you become a 3-hour creator, you shift from it's a mental shift, because it's so tempting to work more than 3 hours. It's so tempting to just work more, because we want to see the thing going up. But it's like Mike Mentzer. He said, if you do a second set after you've gone all out, it's like hitting out a brick wall. It's like a demolition job, because when you break down the muscle, you break it down and it grows back. If you hit down the brick wall, you only need to demolish it once, right? You don't need to demolish it again. And it's the same with your task on your business. As long as you hit them and you do them with focus, with those 3 work blocks, the business will grow. And the hardest thing is trusting it, to be honest with you. But that's all you have to do. It's that simple. So that's this video today. I hope you found some value in it, and that the 3-hour system is something that you've got some ideas from. Oh, hang on, come back, 5 minutes. Housekeeping, perfect timing. So yeah, and I hope that you took some value from it. And look, the thing is, you don't have to work all day to scale your business. You don't have to. You can simply implement the 3-hour system, become a 3-hour creator, and work on completely change how you operate. Or rather, go against all of this bollocks and actually focus on what matters and scale your business that way. And if you'd like my help with this, then I suggest you click the link down below. There's a link to join my Substack, join my newsletter, where I share these ideas first. And that's where you can actually see my offers. That's where you can actually get involved with everything I'm doing. And yeah, if you want to work with me, you need to really come through that, come through the Substack. It's super simple, super easy. All you have to do, simply click the link below. It'll take you through to my Substack. Just enter your main email address, type that in, bang, bang, bang. You'll then be on my list. And then when I invite you into the 3 Hour Creator, which is my private program, I only open that up once a month. Once I release that, you'll be notified there first, and so you don't have to worry about missing out. So yeah, that's it. There's better days ahead. There's bright days ahead for you if you're a creator, you're a coach, and you want to actually live a life outside of your business. Well, more than that, you want to build a business around your life and not the other way around. We'll do it. We'll do it together. So yeah, the future looks bright, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you back here next week.